Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Scorpion Cigar Reviews. Today we'll be reviewing a new cigar from Pete Johnson, Tetoué Cigars. This is their Surrogates line. This particular cigar is called Skullbreaker. I don't have a lot of information on this cigar. $7.90, picked it up at my local tobacconist last week. I looked online and on my local tobacconist's website, and he doesn't even list these in there just yet. So I don't have all the particulars on it, so I'll do my best. It's a dark espresso colored wrapper. Firm construction, not brittle, just very firm, very nice. Some small minor veins, nice tight seams. Flat black wrapper with interesting writing and a red skull on there. It's kind of neat looking. Torpedo. There are 4 new cigars in this line, each with its own size and shape. They're all basically looks like about a 50 ring gauge and about 5, maybe 5.5 inches long, something along those lines. I'll go ahead and I'll get the bands removed. That one came off nicely. Let's see here. I've always been happy with Pete Johnson's cigars. I haven't had any real issues with them. There you go, that one came off nicely. Kind of rough feeling. Almost like a very fine sandpaper. Mild scents, kind of interesting. I'm not sure what it is. Not a whole lot coming from the foot either. There it is. Tobacco, cedar, a little bit of spiciness in there. A little bit of chocolate way in the back. All right. Use my double guillotine cutter. Came off nicely. Flew to the ground somewhere. I guess I'll find it later. Is that it? Ah, there it is. Alright. Pre-draw. A little bit of powder came through. A little bit of spice in there. Okay, not a whole lot going on. Right off the bat, fairly powerful. A lot of spice on the nose, on the exhale through the nose. Pretty strong, upper end of medium, approaching full on the strength. Medium body. Some pepper in there. A little bit of maybe toast, maybe some roasted nuts in there. Okay, so I'll get somewhere in the first third, and we'll see how this Surrogate Skullbreaker, how it pans out. Here we are in the first third of the Surrogate Skullbreaker. Let me tell you something. This cigar's got a lot going on. Very complex. As it transitioned from the initial lighting on the foot to early on in the first third, I picked up some subtle hints of almost like a gun oil. It didn't put me off at all. It was kind of interesting. And then it progressed from there almost immediately to like baked tomatoes. Just very, very flavorful. And then as it got into the first third and those initial flavors dissipated, I started picking up a little bit of cedar and a lot of spices. There's just a lot of spices going on. Very complex, very wide flavor profile. Medium bodied, medium strength. A little dry on the back of the palate. The draw is a little tight. I even went ahead and clipped off a little bit more to see if that would open up the draw a bit. It did not. So it's a little bit of a tight draw. I'm hoping it'll open up as I progress through the cigar. Every draw gives me a little something different. Kind of short on the finishes, so it's hard to pick out exactly what's going on there, but it's very interesting that each and every draw gives me just a little something different. It's absolutely wonderful. This cigar promises to really deliver complexity and just all the flavors coming through. It will likely do well aging in the humidor. Maybe some of those flavors will separate and to the point where you can maybe pick them out a little bit better, and maybe they'll linger a little longer, be a little longer on the finish, be a little more forward. So I'll continue somewhere into the second third. I'll come back and see how the cigars progress. I'm going to pair this cigar with Shock Top. It's a microbrew. This is a new beer to me, this particular flavor. They call it End of the World Midnight Wheat. They describe it as being brewed with things like chocolate and chili and what do they call it? It says all brewed with midnight wheat, chocolate malt, chili, and spice. So we'll see how this beer pans out for me. It does have a dark, lingering, deep, yet smooth aspect to it. This is going to be more of a almost like some of the bigger national brands put out. For example, there was a Michelob Dark that I drank years ago. Just the dark beers. Seems to be along those lines. Not at all fruity. I generally like the raspberry wheat. It's very fruity, fruit-forward, very refreshing beer from Shock Top. I enjoy that immensely. That's probably my favorite beer at the moment anyway. But so we'll see how this End of the World Midnight Wheat pans out, and how it pans out with the Skullbreaker Surrogate from Tattoo It. I'd also like to point out that they're calling this their seasonal collection. With that, I could only assume that with the name End of the World Midnight Wheat, according to the Mayan calendar, this year on December 21st, 2012, the world will end. Either that or that's as far ahead as the Mayans thought and the calendar will simply start over. We'll see what happens. So here I am into the second third of this cigar. Well, I thought about ashing and I didn't, and it fell off in my lap because I'm an idiot. Anyhow, in the second third, still burning nicely. I probably had a good inch and a quarter, or maybe a little bit more, approaching inch and a half worth of ash. Fell off when it landed in my lap. It felt pretty solid, which doesn't surprise me because this is a very solid cigar. Had a little bit of weight to it. Very solid construction. I've always been happy with Pete Johnson's cigars as far as construction and that type of thing. I've never had any real issues. The burn line is crisp, however, a little bit of waviness, but it's a fairly even burn, just ever so slightly uneven. It's nothing to complain of. Medium bodied, medium strength. White pepper going on still. Some of the other flavors have kind of dissipated. I'm no longer picking up the wide variety of spices that were there early on. But we'll see how this progresses. It may very well pick up some new flavors. I was picking up something very subtly, very short on the finish. It was real hard to pick out. Perhaps some heavy paper, not quite cardboard, a little stronger than parchment, maybe just a real heavy type of, almost a parchment style paper, but very heavy. It was very pleasant. So I'll continue on, get somewhere in the final third, and we'll see what happens from there. So here I am in the final third. Burns still pretty even. Slight amount of wave, but nice crisp burn line. No real issues. Draw is still a little bit tight, but not so tight that you can't deal with it. Just a little tighter than I normally like my draw. Still medium body, medium strength. There are no off flavors. There's nothing bad to say about it. It's clean burning. I'm not getting any nicotine bubbling through, no nasty juices. There's no bitterness going on the lips. So it seems to be a well-constructed cigar all the way through, from the curing to the aging and the construction of the cigar itself, and just the whole aspect, everything involved with the construction of the cigar seems to be absolutely perfect. My only complaint is a slightly tight draw. It's not affecting how I smoke it, really. Just I would prefer a little bit looser of a draw. The End of the World Midnight Wheat. Picking up some nice flavors. Slight hint of chocolate in the back. A little bit of spiciness to the tongue. That's probably the chili that they're claiming in there. I don't know what midnight wheat is. Never heard of it. So how that affects the overall flavor of this beer, I really couldn't say. I think that's what's adding the dark character to it. It has the typical of any dark brewed beer. Has this lingering aftertaste that I associate with any dark beer that I've ever drank. Very slight, a subtle, a mild bitterness to it. Not at all bad. It's pleasing. Keeps it a little fresher, I think, on the palate. I'm actually finding that this particular cigar is going really well with the black coffee. Of the 3 drinks I've sampled, the cognac, the shock top, end of the world midnight wheat, and the black coffee, I would say probably the black coffee is pairing the best of the 3 with this cigar. Very nice cigar. It's smooth, a little bit of, a slight amount of harshness. Is very subtle on the exhale through the nose. Not necessarily a peppery, almost a pungent, but very mild on the pungent. It's pleasing, it's interesting, adds to the character of the cigar. The mouthfeel is very pleasing. Once again, it has a very slight amount of dryness on the palate, but nothing that leaves me parched in any way. Starting to form a very slight amount of creaminess in the mouthfeel. The dark beer may be altering that a little bit. Maybe there would be a little bit more creaminess with the smoke had I not been drinking a dark beer. But I'm approaching the nub, so I'll continue on through. I will likely smoke this all the way through the nub, and we'll see what happens from there. I would also like to mention that this shock top, they say, is an unfiltered beer, and that's evident. On the bottom of the bottle, I can see the lees. I guess you would call it lees. In winemaking, you would call it lees. It's the spent yeast and that type of thing that's left behind that you would normally filter out. However, they do add character to the final product. Often a little bit of bitterness, which I'm getting from this as well. But just such a slight amount of bitterness, it just really adds to the character. And that's definitely in this shock top end of the world midnight wheat. Well, I've approached the nub of this Pete Johnson's blend Skullbreaker Surrogates. Let me tell you something. This has been a wonderful, absolutely wonderful cigar. I'm going to go ahead and end this review saying that this cigar has been not only well constructed, my only complaint is a slightly tight draw, but not beyond the realm of the draw that I like. Just a little tighter than I normally like. And at a price point of, what did I say, $7.90 retail. It's definitely well within its price point. I would say this would probably be a go-to cigar. You could smoke this as a daily cigar. Medium-bodied pretty much throughout. Good burn, good even burn throughout. Never had trouble with it going out. Never had trouble with the wrapper splitting or bubbling or cracking or anything. This has been a very, very well constructed cigar. It's held through all the way from the very beginning. It's produced flavors, some very interesting flavors. A lot of spices in there, very complex, short on the finish, and they just changed and progressed so quickly it was hard to pick out each individual spice that was in there. But there was some real interesting flavors very early on. Everything from gun oil to baked tomatoes to some very heavy parchment paper. Once again, the spices, a little bit of cedar in there. Very smooth smoke. A slight amount of pungentness in the final third. Not at all overbearing. Didn't put me off at all. I absolutely loved this cigar. I will definitely be picking up some more of these and laying them down in my humidor and trying them from time to time, maybe once every 6 months, once every year. At this price point, this is something that I could afford to buy perhaps a box of these and lay them in my humidor, and every once in a while just pull one out and see how it's progressed, see how it's aged. This promises to age very nicely. I mean, here I am down in the nub, just starting to get a little bit of warmth in my fingers, a little bit of warmth to the smoke, nothing that would put you off. It's not at all hot, just warm. And way down at the nub, you would have to expect there to be some warmth from the burn, just being so close to the burning tobaccos. I really just can't rave enough about this. Had a very wide flavor profile early on. The first third had such a wide flavor profile. It was absolutely amazing. It was hard to pick out each individual flavor because it just progressed so quickly from one to the next. I just can't say enough about the cigar. Pete Johnson, phenomenal cigar. Once again, you hit the nail right on the head. I love your stuff, man. Good job, Pete. I thank you once again for watching Scorpion Cigar Reviews. I tell you, Pete, I'm smoking the nub on this thing. I need a roach clip, man. This thing is so good, I just can't put it down. It's burning my fingers, and it's good through and through, all the way to the end. I'm pinching it with my fingernails, trying to hold on to it because it's burning my fingers. I'm so close to the burn line. Smoke is warm, but the cigar itself, because as I said, I'm holding it right at the burn line. It's hot, burning my fingers. This thing is awesome. Pete Johnson, you're the man. You rock. Good job, Pete. Ow. It's burning my lips.